Welcome to Dodgers Daily. I'm Casey Porter. I'm so glad that you decided to tune in. We have a very, very, very special guest this evening. Left-handed pitcher in the Dodgers organization, Julian Smith, joins Dodgers Daily. So, Julian, thank you so much for joining Dodgers Daily.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Okay, man. You grew up a big Atlanta Braves fan, correct? Would I be correct when I said that? Freddie Freeman was one of the guys that you kind of idolized growing up, correct?
He was.
Okay, so have you had a chance to face him or meet him since you become a Dodger?
I haven't at all. And, I've been so excited the day that he signed with the Dodgers. Just the idea of getting a chance to like meet him has been on the edge of my mind the entire time. So, I can't wait.
Okay, let's take you back to your high school days at Cox Mill there in North Carolina. You were a standout two-way player. Now, I've got to ask you this first. You were listed at 6'1" in high school. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's right.
And then you were 6'4", and so what'd you grow 3 inches like your first year in college?
I did something like that, yeah. When I was a junior in high school was really the time where I started to grow a little bit. That's where I hit 6 feet. But anytime before that, I was a short kid growing up. But I had a chance. I had really big feet and long arms and long legs. So there was a chance I was going to be tall.
Do you consider yourself a late bloomer then, seeing that you grew with the size?
Yeah, I would say so as well. Because even though I got taller, at the beginning of college, I really didn't start to gain any weight or see anything like that until I was 23, 24. So yeah, I'd probably say late bloomer is a good idea.
So do you miss playing a position?
Not really. I think the idea of just playing more often was the thing I had to get used to about being a PO. But recently, since I transitioned to the bullpen, I get to pitch 2, 3, 4 times a week now. It's kind of helped that a lot.
Okay, so you went from Cox Mill High School to Catawba Community College, and I'm sure that Coach Harvey and Coach Roselle had a lot to do with the fact that you went there. So first of all, why choose JUCO? I know that after your time there at Catawba, that you committed to NC State before you decided to turn pro. So tell us about, why'd you choose JUCO? Why'd you choose Catawba?
I just thought that would be a better route for me. When I was a senior, I was a mid-80s lefty. There were a couple mid-major D1, some D2, 4-year schools looking at me, but I thought the whole idea of the 2-year program potentially getting drafted after one or having another chance to go 4-year was the better route for me. And I had a coach and our travel ball coach, he used to preach to us you really want to go wherever you're wanted the most, right? And CV really showed that interest in me out of high school, so I thought that'd be the best option. And it was.
You had a little bit of everything in your career there. You became an All-American, which is fantastic. You had the offer from NC State that you chose to eventually turn down because you got drafted in 2018. So to kind of talk about your time there at Catawba and some of the great moments and how it all went for you.
I love JUCO, actually, just the opportunity to be there. And it's a kind of a different form of baseball than people typically see in NCAA and stuff like that. It's definitely way more gritty. And I thought that fit me perfectly. And being with Coach Roselle and Coach Harvey, they turned a 6'1", 160-pound, 18-year-old kid into a draft pick. So I don't think I would be where I'm at today if it weren't for them in that time at CV. I'm grateful that I got together.
You mentioned being the draft pick in 2018, and I know that you're very proud. You have to be, at least. You're the only draft pick ever, I believe, if I have my numbers correct, my research correct, out of your high school, only draft pick out of Cox Mill, and also the only draft pick out of Catawba. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, so talk about how proud you are of that, the pride that you take being from those two places.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely a good feeling knowing that coming from those two places that I'm the first one to get drafted like that. And so hopefully I can pave the way, get some more interest into that school, into both of those schools really. And so other kids can have the same opportunity that I did.
Okay, so when you leave Catawba, you've had the Tommy John, you were the All-American, you get drafted in the 15th round of 2018, and you also have a scholarship offer from NC State, who has a fantastic baseball program. Probably would have won the national championship in 2020 if all the COVID stuff didn't hit. That had to have been a tough decision.
Yeah, it definitely was. But growing up, going to college was definitely a part of the path, but that was never really the goal. I wanted to be in the big leagues since I was a kid. So getting the opportunity to get drafted and now play professional baseball, I wasn't going to pass that up. I talked to my family. I talked to the ones closest to me, and that's the decision we came up with.
Tell us what it was like whenever you heard your name called. I know that had to be exciting, especially with the Dodgers tag to it.
Yeah, it was unreal. The draft is definitely like a different experience because you don't really know anything going into it. I didn't really know much. So like hearing my name call it definitely felt like a dream come true.
So you decided to turn pro 2018, and you kind of have a little bit of shoulder fatigue, and so you really don't even get. Well, 2018, I don't even think that you finished you didn't get to pitch in your short season, at least in games. And then 2019, you didn't come back till about halfway through that. So kind of talk about that period of time in your career.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely like hard at first because like I was drafted, I was excited, I wanted to put the jersey on and compete, but being here and talking to the guys and like thinking more about the long-term goal, right? They expressed to me how it would be smarter to, work on my body, get strong, learn a better routine so that in the future that I didn't have to like miss any more time. So like once I like got my mind wrapped around the fact that like it's more about like the end goal and not right now, it was more easier to accept.
Yeah, and you have had a fantastic last couple of years. You started 2021 in Rancho, finished in Great Lakes, and then you were in Great Lakes this entire last season. So talk about the last two seasons.
Yeah, last two seasons definitely exciting. I am just making a transition to the bullpen because I got drafted to start, but now I'm a reliever. So like I've really learned like how to really take that time and like learn my routines and like just that like the difference in the game and how it is from like the beginning to the back end is really like what I've learned over the past 2 years and like had to grow and just become who I am. Cause like, it's almost like as a starter, you pitch one way. And then as a reliever, like it's a complete different mindset. Like everything is different. So like I had to learn that for sure.
No doubt about it. You appear to be the type of guy that loves to have the ball in your hand in the biggest moments, don't you?
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah, talk about the adrenaline that you get whenever, you were a starter in high school and then in college and now you're a reliever. Talk about what it's like being in those big moments, especially professionally.
Well, coming out of the bullpen, it's like either you get the job done or you don't. Like you're coming in with the game on the line. So like just that feeling knowing that you have 35 guys resting on you to win the game is like, it's kind of unreal. It's hard to describe, like, and just getting that third out, knowing the game, going straight to the catcher and shaking up, like it's a feeling I've never felt before.
Especially on that Great Lakes team because there's so many good relief pitchers. And that team last year was so fun, especially with the running in the first season. So that had to be a lot of fun too, didn't it?
Right. Especially playing with guys like that because you're knowing like it could be you at that time or it could be anybody else. And we were all capable of getting the job done. So when it was me, like, it was like, I need to do this right now because somebody else could have been here as well, So like I kind of take pride in the fact that, Chubb would be like, okay, it's Julian today or it'd be Sub tomorrow or Ben Harris the next day. Like, so it's a good feeling, being supported by those guys.
They talk about a lot. Some people will say, well, when you turn professional, it's all about you and it's not a team environment. Boy, that was not the case with Great Lakes last year, was it? I mean, you guys were the definition of a team, weren't you?
Yeah, I would definitely say so. Like, it's not like they say, like, being in minor league baseball, you're competing with one another, which you are, is the nature of the game. But like, we don't really see it that way. Like, we all know who we are. We know that we're good. We know that we're better than whoever we play. So it doesn't really feel like we're competing with each other. So it almost gave us like that college feel. Like, instead of like just wanting to go to the big leagues, like, yes, that's the goal, but like we wanted to win today. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Oh, like, absolutely.
So, like, it was just a good feeling knowing that like everybody was playing where their feet were at the time instead of like looking ahead or looking behind or like not where they're going to go or something like that.
And you guys were a group that Chubb had to, on a couple of different occasions, he had to row you in the right direction, So that was a great season to watch and a whole lot of fun. I can't wait to watch all of you guys keep moving up. But, hey, it's the off season. I know the off season is huge for guys like you, so take us through your routine. Talk about some of the things that you're trying to maybe hone in on and improve a little bit or trying to keep the same standard out that you had last season. So talk about your off season.
Right. So I'm in Arizona right now. So I've been training at the complex, which is nice because we have, everything we need provided for us right there. So I really get the time to focus on like my arm health, the rest of my body health, and like trying to just stick in that routine that I've taken these past 2 years to build. And so like that really helps as well because like we have being at the complex, it's an environment thing, so like being at home is one thing, but working out with the same group of guys that I just described to you, right, on the Great Lakes team and like on other teams helps. Like we push each other in ways that I wouldn't do if I was like by myself at home.
Okay, let's get to your stuff. I love watching you pitch. You are absolutely electric to pitch. First of all, did you have a pitcher that you tried to emulate as a kid, or have you just developed your own style?
I would say Dontrell Willis. My hat used to be sideways. I had a big leg kick. Like he was my favorite pitcher, and he actually like helps us out from time to time now. So like I see him around the complex and things like that. So that's actually really cool.
So let's talk about your stuff. The fastball in the 90 range, the slider, and the cutter. So talk about your stuff. Talk about where it's at, what you're trying to do with an off season, and how you project it.
I think the biggest thing since I signed with the Dodgers is getting my off speed to where it is now. So like, everybody who gets drafted most likely has a good fastball, but like to get guys out at this level and at levels higher, you're going to need more than that. So like going into last off season, I only had 2 pitches, the fastball and the slider. So talking to some of the guys, we were like, we could try to develop a cutter, and it actually turned out to be a really good fit for me.
Yeah. Is it more of a grip thing for you?
It's more of a grip thing for me. Yeah. So like I hold everything off the fastball grip. If I had a baseball right now, I'd show you. But I hold everything off the fastball grip, and I just turn and deviate just a little bit and grab the seams a little different way and throw everything as hard as I can, really.
Was it something that you learned in catch play, or was it bullpen work that you learned with, or how is it developed most for you?
It always starts in catch, just to get like small feel things, but I don't think it really translates to the mound as much. So like I get the most work in like learning like new pitches, pitch design and stuff like that off the mound. So like bullpens and like touch and feels and anything like that.
Have you had the eureka moment with it yet where you let it go and you went, oh, yeah, that's it. I just need to duplicate that right there. Have you had that
I
yet?
Sure did. Last season, I had that at about, I would say, July, like midway through is about the time, like I threw a couple of them and I was like, yeah, that's it right there. And then it just keeps, once you get a little confidence in one pitch, you just keep throwing it and it just keeps getting better. And that's how it was for me. By the end of the season, like I loved it. I would almost say it was my best pitch. Your
second full season this past season, 2022, how did you feel? I know that first season, a lot of guys will say, man, by the end of it, I was just exhausted. I didn't do anything but rest for like the first 6 weeks after the season was over. But being the second one here in 2022, how did you feel at the end of this year?
Everyone runs into that wall at around August, like beginning of September. But like even though you're tired, that's when you got to kind of mentally push through, knowing that you still have more baseball to play. There's still a job to be done, and you're still going to have to get out there and do it. So like, even though my body was tired, like I understood that the rest of my teammates were probably tired and everybody on the other side of the field was probably tired. So really the only way that you could like overcome that is like being mentally aware that you still have a job to do, Do
you mind talking about playing for Shu and then also Chubb and DA, Dave Anderson?
Yeah, playing for Shu is real good. Shu's a Dodger legend, man.
Yeah.
I start with. And
have you ever seen him without his jersey or without his uniform on?
Never. Always has his uniform on. We show up spring training, 6 o'clock in the morning. Shu is already full suit and he's ready to go.
Absolutely. Talk about playing for Chubb and DA.
Chubb and DA are awesome guys too. Like it's a little different feel. Shu gives you that old school feel. Chubb and DA are a little younger. So like it's definitely still serious. And everybody understands that we are there to win baseball games. So regardless on the coaching style, like we all have the same goal, But like playing for them too was a great experience this year.
That's another cool thing about the Dodgers. A lot of times in professional ball, people think, well, you're there for yourself and winning doesn't matter. I assure you in this Dodgers organization, winning matters at every level, doesn't it?
Absolutely. You have to win games. I mean, if you're not winning games, then someone is not doing their job. And if you're not doing your job, then you're not gonna get to the big leagues. I mean, that's just what it is, So like if you start with, like me as a pitcher, like I'm there to execute pitches and there to get guys out, we're there to win the game. Like if we check all 3 of those boxes, then it was a good day and everybody's gonna see the results that they want to see.
You've shown a lot of perseverance in your career. We've talked about it. You had the Tommy John, then you had the shoulder the shoulder fatigue whenever you started your professional career. Then you had 2020. So, I mean, really, it probably was very frustrating with you. I know you mentioned that, hey, you don't dwell on any of that kind of stuff. You just dwell on the times that you've had. But still, that had to be at least somewhat frustrating, and you had to show a lot of perseverance just to keep going. So for all those young kids out there that need to persevere to reach their goals, what's your message for them?
No, I would just tell them it really comes down to how bad you really want it. Like I knew at a really young age that this is what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And along the way, there were going to be some hard times, some bumps in the road, but I knew that wasn't going to derail me from what I wanted to do. So like along the way, you're going to have to make some hard choices. You're going to have to make some sacrifices, but I would say in the end, it's worth it.
Awesome message, Julian. Hey, what is your outlook for 2023? Do you have specific goals? Have you already set your goals for 2023? If you have, what are those, and what are you looking forward to?
I would say it'd be continue to pitch well and stay healthy, stay on the path that I've set for myself.
You're just electric to watch, and I just so enjoyed getting to cover you this past season. Can't wait to cover you again here in 2023. Hopefully start in AA Tulsa. That way I can put my own eyes onto you and I can come and watch you for myself, and that will be very exciting for me. So, hey, Julian Smith, thank you so much for joining Dodgers Daily.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me.